The committee is called to order at 4:30 p.m. Welcome all, and thank you for coming to this last committee meeting of the previous Board of Trust, or to the previous Public Works Committee. I would like the clerk to call the roll.
Nate Feeney.
Here.
Tom Hubbard is by Zoom.
Well,
Here.
Tom, you're on? Okay, thank you.
Yep, I'm here.
Yep. Hussein Zagami.
Here.
And John Ziegler is absent.
Okay. I would like to, even though he's not here, I'd really like to thank Vice Chair Ziegler for all the work that he's done with the committee for the last year. I know that he was very engaged, and a lot of his input was very valuable. I am seeking a motion to approve the minutes from our meeting on March 8th. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion by Zagami. Is there a second?
The second.
Second by Hubbard. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 3-0-0. Are there any public comments? Public comments going twice? Public comments going 3 times? No public comments. I am seeking a motion to acknowledge work product transmittals for the following addresses.
Move to acknowledge.
Motion by Zagami. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Hubbard. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 3-0-0. On to our first presentation. Corey Larson with the Wisconsin DNR regarding the Village of Weston's regarding our 2021 sanitary survey report for the water utility.
Yep. Hello, this is Corey Larson, Wisconsin DNR. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
So I was just asked by Michael and Josh just to kind of give an update or be available at the meeting related to the village sanitary survey. Just kind of an initial summary. There was nothing too out of the ordinary that was seen at the village sanitary survey. Typical common deficiencies with the utility. Josh did take care of pretty much the majority of them, and then there's just a few that are still outstanding that he's still working on, and those due dates have yet to pass. So he still has time to work on those and get those done. I guess, is there any questions from the board or from Josh or Michael that they would like me to address?
For a municipality of our size, are a lot of these just common minor issues?
Yes. So a few of them are, newer code citations, kind of changes that have occurred within the DNR. And part of it is probably, the transfer from Glenn doing the work to me doing the work, and he hadn't gotten around to notifying some of the utilities of some of the things that are required. And then also, you get a new set of eyes. Glenn had been looking at the same treatment plant year after year after year. He might be missing things that a new set of eyes might see. And even you might see that when our new hire comes in and does the next inspection, you might see something different that, I missed. There's a lot in your utility and a lot that gets looked at. So, but it's
the salt, which you said is increased the groundwater.
Yeah, and so that was just listed as a recommendation. If you scroll down, there should be a graph, and if you get to the recommendation section. Yep. Okay. Yep. So here's a graph of the sodium in the village wells over time. And so as far as department's concerned here, we don't really require anything. We just kind of make it a recommendation, notify you guys that EPA does have a health advisory limit for sodium in drinking water. And the health advice, if you scroll up, it'll explain it a little bit. Or the text actually scroll down. Or no, here, actually, no, it was up there, sorry. Yeah, so the sodium level is not to exceed 20 milligrams. And that's for the susceptible population, basically people with, on specific low sodium diets, or people that, have hypertension. And with that, there's been studies and data that has been shown that, over salting practices or changing in your salting road practices can significantly reduce those levels over time. Because if you scroll down, you can see, over time they've continued to increase, and we have seen some utilities take action and see pretty much immediate or significant decrease. So oftentimes a large factor is road salt application. And for you guys, it looks like the blue well 1 would be your well that has had the highest value. And in the city of Madison, they've actually had, there's news articles out there about it where they've had wells, and you can Google that and read that, where they had to get too high in a well, and they actually ended up having to abandon and no longer use that well source. So it's just something for informational purposes. There's nothing on our end that you actually are required to do, but it's, something we want to make you guys aware of so that, your qualified operators and the village board and the Public Works board is aware of it, and, can look at it, continue to monitor it over time, and, see if there is something that could improve it down the road, or, something you manage so that you get it to flatline and not continue to increase. So it's just for informational purposes at this time.
So if I look at that curve, EPA requirement is 200 milligram per liter.
20.
Ours is about 160, the highest one.
Yep.
So it's still, although in the curve is showing we're higher. Could you explain that?
Yeah, all your wells are actually above the level that's recommended. That's not, I'd say it's not uncommon, but it's definitely something that, you guys could look at your salting practices and potentially see how this improves, changes, or decreases over time, or flatlines.
I think it's gonna take a long time, because if the soil profile is contaminated, it's gonna wash it over the years and discharge it to groundwater.
Well, you might think it would take a long time, but specifically with sodium, we have seen immediate impacts at other utilities from changes in road salting practices. Because it seems like sodium, for some reason, it just kind of gets through faster than, other surface contaminants.
I guess a little description for the locations of these wells. That blue line that's the highest, well 1, that's over our Alta Verde well by the swimming pool. And then the next high one is number 5. Our well 5 is over on Gladle. So we did, at the pool over there is kind of one spot where we stored a lot of our snow after our snowplow event. So we have already taken, I think we've switched up a couple places where we're actually putting some of the snow now. So we can see if that starts a little trend downward, but yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and we have seen that occur in the past where they have moved extra snow storage from parking lots from one location that was nearby a well to another location, and the next year you actually see it go lower, and then the following year it goes lower.
Kind of that next one down, well 2 is tricky. That's our foremost well, or carry well, over by in Rothschild area over there. So they get hit with quite a lot of salt that we probably don't have any control over. So, but that kind of flattened it out a little bit already, it looks like.
Alta Verde, I'm surprised, because how much salt are you using over there? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's just that, the snow piling we had over there by the pool,
Right,
but
and
Really
those
shocked to see.
are very, just the local traffic.
yeah.
But that snow is coming from Schofield Avenue or other places that
Yeah.
they're removing snow.
Yeah, so we,
There's a pile of snow in there?
yeah, so we,
Yeah.
Okay, then that's
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
That's why we were piling some of our hauled snow and putting it in the parking lot of the pool. So we stopped doing that this year, so of course, we didn't get that much snow or salt usage this year, so that might help too.
Yeah, and these samples, it looks like the most recent would have been around May of 2020. So, you know, that would have been before this past winter effect of that change, depending on when this change was made.
Other than the road salting, or change in road salting practices, what other actions could be taken to mitigate the amount of sodium in our wells?
I mean, I don't know if any utility has ever, done treatment to remove it or reduce it, because it, hasn't gotten to that level. Besides, Madison, where, they abandoned it and basically drilled elsewhere. So as far as treatment, I'm actually not even familiar with any treatment facilities statewide that would do that. So you'd maybe have to contact a consultant for something to do that. But yeah, typically we see road salting practice as really the source, because the sodium's got to come from somewhere, and where else is it coming from? Sometimes it is just naturally higher in the what would that be, the groundwater aquifer or the minerals in the ground. But as you can see from 1993,
Yeah.
your wells were not at that level that there are now. So something is impacting them. So you can see like well EP200, and this is only data going back to 1990, or actually we have some going back all the way to 1982. So all your wells are generally probably naturally in that below 40 range, but then human practices have created increases.
Josh, what's the level of chlorine in the water?
Level of what?
Chlorine.
Chloride,
chloride.
yeah, and I didn't graph the values for chloride because there's no EPA HAL for it, and just because it's a HAL, we include the recommendation about sodium. But hold on, actually Weston, I have it in my notes. It says R. Sanitary reform. Yeah, and the chloride level, I have well one at 240 milligrams per liter. This is 2017 test results. Well two at 180 milligrams per liter. EP200, which is well 3 and 4 at 120 milligrams per liter. Well 5 at 220 milligrams per liter, and well 6 at 61 milligrams per liter. And those also, I do have a note, appeared to be increasing over time. And this is something with, obviously, with road salting practices, you necessarily can't get away from, stopping all your road salting usage. And I know the DOT is, they have a website specifically devoted to this, and, how you can minimize and basically make sure you're using the most optimal amount of road salt. But you kind of just want to continue to watch it and see if you can kind of maintain it at a consistent level, because you don't want to become a Madison. And I'm sure Josh and Mike can read up on that and see how that Madison was impacted. So this is kind of just an FYI recommendation to, maybe make some changes, review it, consider what you can do, and then kind of continue to watch it over time.
Director Odelsky, Superintendent Swenson, for our next Public Works and Utilities meeting, could you, or could we get a little short presentation on things, what would, on things we can do in order to mitigate the sodium, including changing where we store salt?
Yeah, thanks with Deputy Director Razkowski as well. As soon as this information became known to us, and that's when we made the decision last winter, we're not gonna store snow by Alta Verde well. Our operations staff went through a salt wise training on salt reduction strategies, so, yeah, I guess as soon as we were made aware, we started acting on it right away, so. But yeah, we can go over what we've done.
Yeah, I view that as more of an information thing than anything else.
Yeah, sure.
I think, Michael, the groundwater is shallow around here and the soil is sandy and it's pretty easy to get contaminated. We gotta be really, really careful with it. And I'd like to thank you, Corey, for your report. I think it was very good and comprehensive. And how often you do report like this on municipality? Is once a year or?
These are every 3 years.
Okay,
So we come in and do an in-depth review of the water utility.
I think it was done very nicely. Great. We need that.
Corey,
Yep, and go ahead.
sorry, I had to run out of the room for a second there, but, was there any discussion on how, infiltration of stormwater has perhaps impacted any salt in the groundwater? So I know like when we do street reconstructions now, we're pushed to infiltrate as much water as we possibly can. And I just wonder if that has any, historically, the goal was, stormwater, you put in a pipe and you get in the lake, river, stream as fast as you can. And now we're told to keep it, capture it and let it work its way down and filter into the groundwater. Do you think there's any correlation there, or has there been any discussion about that?
I mean, there definitely could be a correlation there. Right now, I know, like, as far as the sodium goes, there's no real requirements until you get to the stage where Madison was. And I don't know if you scroll up, does it say how high the well in Madison got before they? Yeah, I don't. So I don't know how high their well got off the top of my head. That it became an issue because then it became an issue where it was actually the citizens could see a significant taste in the water. Basically, salty tasting.
Yep.
And EPA says when you get in the 30 to 60 range, people with sensitive tastes may start noticing it. But yeah, I mean, it definitely could, but I guess my recommendation for the utility is make the changes you're going to make based on this new information, and then, review. I think you guys are on a 3-year testing schedule. And then, so if you wanted, you could do additional testing. Won't necessarily be required. So next year around this time, you could do an annual review, do additional testing, and kind of see, did we see an impact in year 1? Did we see an impact in year 2? Did we see, an impact in year 3?
Sure.
And that's kind of how we've told utilities to manage it, because, some of them have seen changes and then they, it gets consistent, and then they have 1 year where it's really bad and they're like, oh, we did this different and now it started going up again.
Thank you very much, Mr. Larson.
Yeah, and I guess the only additional thing I'd have for the utility, to think about or discuss is the well 7 and 8 filter plant. What's the status of that? I know it was briefly discussed at our inspection, but it's been about a month and a half, so.
AECom has submitted the Wellside investigation report to DNR. I know they've gotten some feedback from, I think it was the drinking water group.
Okay. So that's all moving forward as planned.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Yep, because that was the only other thing noted in the report in the capacity section is the utility didn't meet capacity, but those new wells and that construction would basically correct that, and it was already in the works. So it was just written in the body of the report. But that'd be all I have then.
Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Larson. I think that, I don't think anyone else has any other questions.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Have a good rest of your meeting.
Bye.
Bye.
Yep, thanks.
All right, next up is Judy. I'm not gonna butcher your last name. Why don't you come up to the mic and state your address for the record.
My address?
Yeah.
Name too.
Okay. I am Judy Pagrasinski. Address is 226690 Blue Jay Lane in Ringgold, 54471.
Yeah, so I guess, I don't know, I think it was in last month, I guess Sherry and I had received an email from Judy. Just wanted to know what it would take to get some, additional roads open in the village for ATV, UTV use. So I guess told her to, let us know what her idea is and, I guess bring it to you guys for, I guess any consideration to then, forward something onto the village board, so.
Yeah, I know you had also talked to Chief Schultz about it, and he showed no concerns of any type. What we'd like to do is, being that Cronenwetter, the entire village and Knowlton are now open to ATV, UTV use, as well as Ringgold and a bunch of us further to the east. If we could get your portion of Nick Avenue, Heron up to Shorey over to Zinzer up to Weston, and then Weston straight across to Adventure Way where it is open now. That would open up travel for all the residents in that southwestern quadrant that kind of can't get out any other way. And then also in my, I talked to Mr. Wodowski just a moment ago, and a few of our club members are also stating that they would like access on Callan Avenue from right before the bridge on Highway J, which is open right there, over to the north end of Zinzer Street, so families can get to Trailside for meals and whatever. So I don't know if you want to consider that also, but the lower part here, there's not a lot of residents there, and I think the traffic flow is quite light. So we didn't think it would really cause too much of an issue. And then if it does go through, then we'll just need to know if you want us to do the signage or you guys, and then we can discuss what kind of signs and how many of them you want up and all that kind of good stuff, so.
Yeah, I walked through a lot of this area the last couple weeks. Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's not much in the way there. Director Wodowski or Administrator Donner, would there be any issue with some of our long-term planning for that area to allow ATV usage, or not so much?
I'm not sure how that works in terms of ordinances, if we can just post certain streets. I thought it has to go like in a blanket, almost like a blanket effect on any street that's posted at the same speed limit, but I may be mistaken.
No, as far as the state statutes go, you can post any roads you want, and all travel for ATVs is 35 miles an hour, unless the road is lower posted, then we travel by that previous posted speed. And most of the travel would probably be on the weekends anyway, when the families are out and about.
So isn't right now, County Highway J also open?
Just a portion up to River Road.
Just the part you show there?
Yeah, it's the red part.
That's not, okay, doesn't go through the interchange area,
No.
access control area.
I think the only concern I would have on Weston Avenue, the people drive fast.
Yeah, and that's
Like
gonna,
in that area, just crossing and, I would say 50, 60 miles an hour.
yeah, whether they should be going that faster than, right?
You know, we have the speed limit, I think it's 45 maybe.
All right? Well, and I know we're talking about improving that over the next few years.
Yeah, it'd be a nice runway. So I think it should be monitored because that speed could be, it caused me trouble, let's put it that way, experience.
I mean, you know, and also on our part, if we notice that there's a problem, we try to correct it ourselves as a organization, but also we have no problem with you guys saying, hey, we've had too many incidents on this road, we're sorry, people don't abide by the rules, they can't behave themselves, sorry, but we're shutting it down. I mean, it's a fact of life, you know? You're gonna always have one idiot.
Right.
Or more.
The chair recognizes trustee White.
You may want to check the municipal ordinances before you okay any of this, because I know in the previous years, we have had ordinances that prohibit the operation of ATVs, mini bikes, and any other device on all village roadways, so
I mean, we,
you want to make sure you don't allow something that's in violation of your ordinance.
yeah,
Well, evidently you must have did something before because part of Weston Avenue and part of River Road are already open, so.
Yeah, I know that we did adopt the Marathon County, or at least part of the Marathon County ATV route.
That one, what is it, 187 or whatever, the 127 ordinance? I used to know them all by heart, but the only one I can remember is the 23 from the state.
I can pull it up here, how we currently have our ordinance defined.
Mr. Hubbard, do you have any thoughts of your own?
Well, is some of that in the town of Weston where it might be,
No,
Okay to-
all these streets are in the village, Tom.
okay, they are, okay.
Yep. Yeah,
In,
so
in, Weston Avenue is just from, I'm trying to visualize that. Is that from J to Zinzer?
correct, yep.
Okay,
Well, it would actually have to be from Adventure Way so that they could cross
Yeah.
Highway J.
But, yeah,
right,
so that,
right.
Yeah,
so our ordinances currently lists, you know, those few segments of road as, all-terrain and utility terrain vehicle routes. So I guess my thought, I guess, to trustee White's comment would be we just need to update that so it, properly reflects what may, be in addition to those routes currently, approved, so.
yeah, and then it just has to be publicized in the paper and.
Yeah, so we have to go through the formal ordinance change and.
I have no particular objection. I used to do a lot of snowmobiling, so I completely understand and empathize with how important road access to trails are. So, yeah, I would be in favor of sending this to the full board for potential approval.
So the snowmobile are gonna use this road too, right?
No,
No,
this is strictly for ATV, UTV use.
okay,
And all it does is allow the people that have one to get out and about to gas stations, to, you know, fast food restaurants or wherever, so that they can go out and enjoy family and help promote the community You know, it's putting economy into your area. I mean, I live in Ringo, so I don't, not that I have anything against Weston, but I don't hardly ever come here, so it really isn't gonna affect me that much, but being the club president, I get to be the voice.
So they don't race on this road, right?
Nope, we don't allow it.
Because I have seen that too.
Oh, yeah, I have to, and if you catch them, you gotta write their license number down and turn it into the sheriff's department, because they have 2 recreational officers now that will find them, and the fine is anywhere from $200 to $500, so it's a steep one.
Yep.
And our club, every meeting, I tell people, behave yourselves on the road and obey the speed limits, and make sure you're riding on the far right side, not down the middle of the lane, and we have rules that we have to go by, so.
Mr. Zagami, anything else?
I do not.
Mr. Hubbard?
No, I don't have any objections either.
All right, is there a, motion to send this to the, Board of Trustees?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Hubbard, is there a second?
I would like to add to it to, check the ordinance for sure to make sure it meet the ordinance. And then recommend it. Could you amend it, please, your motion?
What was that?
Can you amend your motion?
Oh, yes,
yeah.
I can amend my motion to put it to the board once all ordinances have been looked at and it is okay.
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. So it'll be before the full board on Monday.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
All right, next up is CIP project status update.
Hey, I guess the Weston School neighborhood, we've been in contact now with the contractor since weather is getting nice. And, they've indicated they'll be back likely the last week of the month here in April to get the ditch restoration, seeding, tree planting, and the final layer of paving on Von Kennel completed. So probably that last week of April, first week of May, they probably only have about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks tops of work left to do. The Crestwood Acres bid opening was about 2 hours ago in this room, so I guess still going through those items. And then, I guess, yeah, Becker Happy started survey work on Birch Street.
Just a quick question for Crestwood Acres. Not asking for a figure, but did it come in above estimation, below estimation, or more or less on the nose?
Construction cost is about 300,000 over. It's a $2.7 million project, so, I mean, I guess relatively speaking, it's pretty close. So, I guess that's the part I'm going through now. I didn't have enough time to necessarily go through and just decipher if it's, water utility costs, sanitary sewer costs, storm sewer costs, or general fund costs.
Sure.
Who designed that?
AECom.
You made the estimate too?
Yeah, I guess, well, their estimate was higher than, I used my village estimate of about a $2.3 million project.
Yep.
They were, a little north of 3 million, so.
Oh, they were way too high.
So they were high, yeah. So, we had five bidders that came in. A1 Excavating was a little over 3.4 million. Earth Inc. was at 3.5. Haas Sons was about 2.8. James Peterson, 3.4. And then Switlick and Sons was 2.7. So.
2.7 got it?
2.7, yeah, so Switlick and Sons is the apparent low bidder, so.
Has he worked in the village before?
They worked on our water and.
Yeah, they had the Margaret Street project in Rothschild, was that 2 years ago?
I've worked with them on multiple projects. They do good work.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'm not worried at all about
are they based in Wisconsin? or-
They're from Athens.
Oh, okay,
I mean, that's their headquarters, their employees are central Wisconsin-ish.
yeah, local enough.
Yeah, about as local as we're gonna get from the people who bid. You know, so yeah, so I guess we're still just going through the bid tab information on that, but, I mean, it looks like it came in pretty close to what we would expect.
Right.
So, you always hope that you see it a lot lower, but, you know,
I mean, we've had a pretty good run.
yeah. So where was I here? Facility projects, just a few punch list items. The landscaping for that, will be done by staff, and we've got plants, trees arriving the first full week of June. And then, the municipal center bid, opening was 2 weeks ago now. There's a building committee meeting in which a recommendation to move forward with the project is being made to the village board, for next week. So, I guess the Cedar Creek Interceptor Access Road, working with Bitech there on getting the easement issues figured out. So we can go back to the property owners to make sure we can get access, to the sanitary pipe back there. Then, I guess the, Ryan Street Apache Lane, we have the preliminary resolution for special assessments in the packet, so looking to get that project moving forward with at least the main work, getting done this year, and then the lift station part of that might, trail off later this fall, or, even spill into next year. And then, as I mentioned with, Mr. Larson with the DNR and wells 7 and 8, we do have the, contract change order with AECom in the packet to finalize the design on the wells, and, they have been provided with the well siting study, and the DNR drinking water program, as I mentioned, has provided comments as of 2 weeks ago. So that's another project that's being proposed to be bid as 2 separate projects, just so that the well portion can get going sooner than the pump station portion. So that, I guess, testing of the wells can be done in conjunction with the rest of the approval process. So hopefully we can make it go as quick as possible, so.
Okay. Thank you very much for that.
Yep.
Any questions or comments? Okay. Deputy Director Akskowski?
Yeah, street department, we're kind of still in between seasons right now. Weight limits are gonna be pulled this week, Thursday morning. So, right now, we're ahead of schedule, I feel, on the sweeping of the streets, which is a good thing because we've got storms sort of put in for upcoming overlays and that. So, some of the guys were down on the Eau Claire River Trail today. The new, skid steer we purchased last year with tracks on it is working out great. So, we're gonna get the trail straightened out, and then we're gonna move on to other stuff. And then, American Asphalt's supposed to open their plant, hopefully last week in April, so then we're gonna start looking at getting in some of the storm sewer work. The salt shed is plumb full. We purchased some vendor reserve that we had from this year, which will save us 3% a ton, because that's what they're figuring it's gonna go up for next season. Did a chainsaw safety training with Dave Deason from the village. He did a great job. I've been through, this is the 4th time in my career I've gone through chainsaw safety. It was the best one I've gone through. It was really good hands-on work. We sold 1,600 cubic yards of compost to Olson Paving, which is a good thing, so we've got some more room. And the track skid steer, if you happen to see some of the shoulders, we rented a power box rake, and it really works good for reclaiming shoulders. It's probably the best thing I've ever seen, so we're just gonna keep moving ahead, and it's gonna be a busy summer, I know that. So.
There's a picture of the skid steer kind of reprofiling the road there.
When you pull up shoulders that have a lot of sod on the outside, like the county, if you ever see what they use, they've got a disc on a tractor.
Yeah.
It'll pull it up, but it still doesn't break it up like this does. So now what happens is when we reclaim the shoulder using this, now we're good to go. We get heavy rains in the summer, things start to wash. We can blade that material back up and reuse it. So we're reclaiming the stuff that's been kind of pushed to the outside edge. rather than having to add new granite, which is a costly endeavor. So this is working out really well.
All right, thank you.
Oh, excuse me.
Yes, Mr. Zagami.
Michael, there was a change order here for AECom.
That'll come later.
I don't see it. Okay. All right, that's fine. Sure.
Superintendent Swenson?
Yeah, with the weather clearing up, we've got a lot of outside work happening, so our guys have got a lot of diggers to go mark, a lot of work orders happening. We did finish up the well one rehab towards the beginning of the month. There was a number of chemical pumps that needed some small repairs, and some heaters went, and just some general well maintenance that took place. We did flush the line over to our Rib Mountain Metro. They are served off of our Cary well. That hadn't been flushed in quite a while, so our guys got out and did that. There's some general lift station maintenance, some repairs to the Rasa lift station, as well as the Mescaline generators. Not much hydrant work at all over the month of March. Our guys did get the valve exercising. We have all our valves, our system valves on a 5-year cycle to get exercised. Last year was fruitful for our brakes. This year we had our first one today, we feel. It was leaking, so we gotta maybe have one taken care of here soon. Just some miscellaneous activities the guys have done on poor weather days. They're changing out LED lights at the various facilities, finishing up updating some painting in the treatment plant area. We'll be starting on our lift station cleaning soon. Our water main flushing letter went out in the mail today, I believe Teresa said, to notify that our flushing will begin next week, Monday. Touched on the exercising. We have our annual water report, our consumer confidence report will be getting out hopefully towards the end of the month or so, maybe into next month. Contract work, Michael touched on some of our utility jobs that are happening. We do have our Cary well investigation. The investigation is Cary's request to eliminate our polyphosphate feed. A couple weeks ago, it has been turned off, so now we're in a monitoring stage, just to kind of see what the system produces for some of our testing, sampling and testing results. For some future work, hoping to get some sewer lining RFPs out, manhole RFPs. It's part of some of the things that we need to remedy on our DNR sanitary survey, our annual well or annual tower vented screen inspections. So we have proposals with Lane Tank to do those inspections, as well as our inspection on our Everest Tower. That'll be taking place some point this summer. And then I guess we just have our general customers added, water pumps, wastewater lift station stuff. We did add our Aquahawk. In the beginning of 2020, we started sending out information to the customers about our Aquahawk, which can be utilized to monitor your personal water usage, to kind of set up to see if you have any potential leaks, and you can set up some thresholds for notifications. So I just kind of thought I'd throw this on there to kind of show the utilization that, you know, at 0 point last year, you know, up to now, a year later, we have about 50% of our customers utilizing the Aquahawk software. So we want to add some other pieces of data like our PSN where they can pay without having to come into the village as well. So we'll be adding some other tidbits information for you guys down the road here. So
I will say I am an Aquahawk user, and last week one day I sitting down to eat dinner, I could hear that my toilet was running. And when I checked my email later that day, I was receiving emails from Aquahawk letting me know that I had an apparent leak in the house. So anybody who has that ability to connect, you can get text to your phone, emails. You can set your thresholds for how you want it, but you know, I was lucky enough that I heard my toilet leaking, but if it was in a basement somewhere or in a part of the house I didn't use, or a rental property even, you know, it can be a very beneficial thing. So as you talk to utility customers, you know, please let them know that that's on there, and the information to sign up is on our website, or even if they call in, Teresa can get people signed up as
We
well.
also put it on our remarks section on all of our billing,
Yeah,
so that is on there as well.
Wonderful.
yeah, so it's on the utility bill too.
All right. Anything else for this agenda item? Okay. Item 11, 2021 street maintenance plan update.
Yeah, so I guess last week was a busy week, and our street maintenance bid up, I guess, openings. So I guess before we went through the laundry list of items that, as far as awarding contracts or recommendation of awarding contracts, just wanted to give the committee an overview of kind of how that whole budget comes together, and which streets, you know, are being treated this year. So I don't know what the best way to do it is, maybe map wise. You know, so the projects in green are asphalt overlays. The projects in blue are GSB 88, so it's a kind of like a liquid asphalt sealer to kind of help lock in and rejuvenate the pavement. It helps to restore the flexibility and also the defense against some of the UV rays. So that generally is on our newer pavements or streets that have been recently overlaid to help keep them in that good condition. The red streets up here, that's in the Sandy Meadows neighborhood. That's a continuation of the chip seal that's been done over the last few years up in there. Hopefully in the next 2 years, we'd have that entire neighborhood completed. And then we have a bridge rehab here at the Rasa Avenue, Eau Claire River crossing. Take a look at the bridge. There's obvious spalling and delamination of the bridge deck. And then we'll be repaving Ross Avenue as well between Camp Phillips and Mesker this year.
Is that on the village website?
No, but we could definitely add it.
Yeah, in speaking with constituents this year, a lot of them really wants to know where the road money is going.
Sure.
So, you know, and maybe not so much link it with the entire text of the street plan, but little blurb of that neighborhood and what's going on. I think that a lot of people would really, really like that.
No, I know we've been, Dan's been working with Will Harrison, our GIS tech, too, about trying to go back in time a little bit and showing what's been done over the past, say, 5 or 10 years, so you can try to get that whole picture instead of all just these little yearly snapshots. So
That's a great idea.
yeah.
So you had your overlay minus 40,000, that was lower than estimated?
Yeah, so the red number means it came in high. The black number means it came in low, if that makes sense. So, like.
Negative to me means you're lower, positive means you're higher, but that's okay.
Yeah, I guess I
was on the same wavelength too.
Yeah, I went estimated cost minus the bid result, instead of bid result minus estimate. So I guess the way I saw it, so after the chip seal, there's 15,377 left over to apply to another project. So, I guess right now, everything together, the contingency, is reduced by about 15,000. The Ross Ave project will be bid opening is this Wednesday. So, I guess overall, it looks like we still have some contingency money to cover any other overages, you know, even some of the concrete patching, asphalt patching, we carry that money just because, you know, all of a sudden Schofield Ave, it's a hot summer day and we get a few slabs that blow up. You know, we need to make sure we have money for that, so that it's money that's set aside for what we expect to happen, but we don't necessarily have a plan for where it's gonna go. I guess the plan is it's for that unexpected event. That makes sense. It's planned money for unplanned events. So,
Hence the contingency.
hence the contingency there, yeah. So, I guess unless you have any questions, we can get into then each of those, bid items individually.
Sure.
Okay. So the first item was the crack sealing contract. We had 3 bidders on that one. Crack ceilings that I guess we kind of considered the probably the most critical aspect of street maintenance. It kind of keeps water from getting into the pavement structure and helps to prolong the life of our asphalt streets in particular. So the low bidder on the project was Thunder Road with a price of $85,200. And I guess staff would recommend awarding the project to them.
Is there a motion?
Move.
Motion by Zagami,
I'll second.
second by Hubbard. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries.
Next item is the chip sealing project. So, again, the process of the chip seal is, there's a kind of a thin asphalt emulsion that's applied to the road, and then a layer of small rocks or chips that are then compacted over the surface. Then after a few days, we've been going with a fog seal over the top of our chip seals lately. That seems to help prevent chip loss over time. It also just seems to hold up, I guess, a whole lot better. We've had issues in the past with chip seals kind of stripping off, and yeah, I guess the fog seal seems to help, and it also in the residential neighborhoods, it keeps a lot of those loose rocks out of people's yards. So they tend to like just that aspect of it anyways.
Is that Scott Construction? Is that the same Scott here?
No, that is, Scott Construction's out of Lake Delton.
Down southern Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly, I'll look it up.
So it's different than Scott Enterprises.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They've been seal coating for years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep, they've done, they did it last year. Seems like every other year we rotate between Farner and Scott Construction. So we did have the 2 bidders, Farner and Scott Construction. And Scott's bid came in at $42,731. Which, as I noted earlier, is about $15,377 under budget, so.
Okay.
Okay, I move to recommend the village board award 2020 chip sealing project to the Scott Construction, Inc. for a total bid price of $42,731.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Let the chairman know.
And
Yep, I
Yes.
guess just a note on that, there was a typo there, it should say 2021.
you know, I wasn't gonna bust you, but then you have someone in the back that's, just chuckling to himself.
Yeah.
So I said 2020.
You did say 2020, so we need to,
So it has to correct that 2021, please.
Well, considering we're all on the same page, that even though it's stated, or even though it's written as 2020, we mean 2021. Lauren, do you have any?
Has to be corrected.
Depends upon how tight you want to hold to rules of order.
So, I mean, if we want to be really tight on Robert's rules,
It'd be a motion to reconsider.
right. For something like this, my personal belief is that, or my personal opinion is, we know it's a typo, it's actually 2021. Mr. Zagami, are you okay with that? Or do you want to reconsider?
I'll reconsider.
Okay, Mr. Hubbard, would you mind, would you or Mr. Zagami mind making a motion to reconsider so that we can state it properly?
I will make a motion to reconsider.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye,
I,
and, hang on, Lauren, help me out with reconsidering because,
You just approved the motion to reconsider,
yes, and now we actually have to,
restate the motion
okay, yes.
correctly.
To recommend, the village board award the contract for 2021 chip sealing project to Scott's Construction, Inc. for a total bid price of $42,731.
Is there a second?
I will second.
All right, second by Hubbard. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 I,
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, next.
Sorry about that.
Any other 2020s in there?
Well, I'll make sure there's no, thought I got them all. It's what happens when you just copy and paste from last year, just change the dollar amounts.
I've done it. I
Yeah,
think everybody's done it.
okay, so, next item is the GSB 88, so again, it's a rejuvenating sealer, kind of similar to a traditional driveway. It, kind of just helps seal in the small cracks and then, restores the, flexibility and, provides the UV ray protection. So we had two total bidders on the project, Farner Asphalt and Gee Asphalt. And Farner was the low bidder with a total price of $35,796.60.
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Hubbard, second by Zagami.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I,
All opposed? Motion carries.
All right, number 15 is the asphalt overlays. So again, those are I guess, the maintenance treatment used on the more weathered and, I guess, somewhat structurally deformed pavement surfaces. So we use them to help restore a crown on streets. Also in areas where there's, more extensive potholes or other rutting that's going on. That's really the only way to correct that at this point is to put on a new layer of asphalt over the top. And as Dan mentioned or alluded to, then there's usually a drainage project that goes with it so that you're getting the water off the pavement and, kind of in the ditches or wherever it needs to be, so it's not sitting on there. So again, these bids were open on Wednesday, the 7th. We only had one bidder on the project, who was American Asphalt. We did have a bid discrepancy as far as the quantities go. So the recommendation on this one is to award it based on the unit prices on the attached bid tab, which then has a total anticipated project price of $221,068.58. So again, so it came in a little over budget, but I guess overall in the grand scheme of things, it fits in with the entire maintenance budget.
I have one, are those numbers somewhat in line with last year's when they did Ross, that section from Birch to, Camp Phillips?
So that was a repaving. That project won't be bid or the bid opening for that section is this Wednesday.
Right,
This
but
is-
last year's, that was an overlay, wasn't it? When they
No,
did
that
last year?
That was 5 new inches of asphalt.
Oh, it was, okay, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is they call it the fortifiber, so there's little fibers that gets mixed into the asphalt on this too, so it helps with some of the reflective cracking to help, again, reduce the amount of cracking that you see on these streets.
Really wonder how they come up with this stuff.
Yeah.
So that, 221,000, it covered all this street?
Correct, yeah, so we found out we had a kind of an extra multiplier in our quantities for the tonnage on a lot of the surface courses. So, in talking with American Asphalt, they knew that the tonnage was off based on what the estimated square yardage was. We're a little peeved, they didn't just call us and say, hey, you've got an error, but, they said their unit price is good, so, and they know that these jobs are based on, actual tonnage of material placed. So, I guess without changing the bid form,
Right.
based on our calculations of what it would be that 221 number.
So 316, 255.5 is out.
Correct, yeah, that number isn't actually going to happen. It'll be the 221.6850.
Because in the motion, they don't say anything about it.
Yeah, so in my motion, I said based on the unit prices instead of the total cost.
So we say based on unit price not to exceed to that number?
Yeah, I guess however you want to word it. I mean, really, it's all of these projects at the end of the day are unit price projects. I mean, the crack ceiling's based on so many pounds, if they come in and they're, instead of we have 60,000 pounds, if they put 59,000 pounds in place, we pay them for 59,000 pounds, not 60, or if they go to 61,000 pounds, we pay them for that extra 1,000 pounds.
And we monitored, like last year, they filled out a log every day with how many pounds they put down on each street. And I've got that, and we'll be watching this too when it comes to the overlays, working with,
Sign off every day on it?
pardon?
We get
You sign off every day?
like the scale tickets, yeah.
Yes. Mhm. Yeah.
You
they
get load tickets daily then?
Yeah, they'll do them electronically, they'll send a spreadsheet over what came out of plant 22, that's what they're mixing out of.
Right.
Mhm.
So yeah, we'll monitor it and, if there needs to be change later on, or we can
Change orders.
we can address it then, but, I feel confident that, that 221.68 is where we would be. It was just a slight error on how the, quantities were established based off the yardage measurement of the streets, so.
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve for
Motion
American
by
Asphalt
Hubbard.
based on the unit bid price.
Right.
Based on corrected bid,
Yeah,
based on corrected bid.
yes.
Right.
Seconded.
All right, second by Zagami. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
For the board to try to avoid confusion, I'll add the next column over to show the, expected, or the recalculated tonnage on those, so.
Thank you.
Actually, you gotta do something with the bid tab.
Yeah, so that's what I mean, I'll
Okay.
prep the bid tab.
Yeah.
But,
And actually, across that number,
Yep.
put the correct number in there, say this is the correct number.
sure,
That way he can see it, so.
Number 16, Rasa Ave Bridge Deck bid results and recommendation to award.
so, again, we mentioned the bridge deck has some, I guess, falling, delamination, and, also deterioration along the east deck edge. The DOT, inspects our bridges on a 2-year cycle. Last fall, when we received the report, they indicated the need to make, these repairs on the bridge deck. We had started getting quotes and data together from, Norcon and other, DOT representatives, and then with the onset of, early winter, it seemed like last October, we didn't have a chance to get this project out for bid in time. So, we did have, $78,350 from last year get forwarded into this year to, essentially for this project. We had two bidders on it. Farner Asphalt actually was the low bidder on the project at $90,455, which is a little over what we carried over, but, again, that's kind of where that contingency comes into play from all the other projects. So, we did check around, since their name is Farner Asphalt, not Farner Concrete. But, the DOT has used them on other bridge deck repairs and hasn't had any issues, so I guess
Okay.
we feel confident that, they'll be able to do the work here as well.
And you're $12,000 over your budget, right?
Correct on this one, yep.
Okay. I'll move to recommend to the village board to award the contract to Warner Asphalt for $90,455.
Motion by Zagami, is there a second?
A second.
Second by Hubbard. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Right, and then Crestwood Acres stuff you don't have ready for us, but it's in.
Yeah, so the, construction services contract, Attorney Yeedy and the lawyers with AECom are going just back and forth on some of the legal language on the contract, but, so I didn't have the physical copy, I guess, for you guys necessarily to review. Right before this meeting, it looks like I got, an email from AECom with a revised copy that seems to incorporate all of Attorney Yeedy's comments, so that should be, hopefully the last revision that has to be made on that.
Okay.
And then, as I mentioned, the bid opening was at 3:00 today, and we went through those already, so won't bore you with those again.
Thank you.
Yep.
Number 19, well 7 and 8 design contract recommendation from our friends at AECom.
That's the change order, right?
Correct, yeah, so the original contract, only went up through, 60% drawings for the well. So, I guess this would be, I don't know if even change order is the right word, it's almost just a final design contract for the project, because this was never included in the initial scope of work. It was something that we knew was going to need to be done, but wasn't included at the time.
So it's not a change order, it's just.
Yeah, it's not really a change order, it's just,
All right. That's what got my attention.
yeah,
It's a thing.
All right.
yeah, so, I mean, they called it a change order, so I left it at that, but, realistically, it's a new contract with them to, finalize the design and for bidding services for the wells.
Did they pretty much stay with the cost number they give you?
Yeah, I guess I'd have to look, back at, I think it was 2018 when we first got their initial quote for the water supply, model update, so.
I'll keep a tab on that.
Okay.
All right. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
Motion by Zagami, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Hubbard, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Just a question, Mr. Is there a deadline for the project,
As far as when they would get their work done,
right?
yeah, so their project schedule has the bidding documents ready by June 15th at the latest.
All right, and item 20, discussion about traffic calming measures. This one's mine. I did get an email from a citizen, basically just wanting to know what we were doing for traffic calming. So I thought that this might be a good informational issue to educate the board and answer some questions. Or I'm sorry, educate the committee, not the board.
Any specific area or just general through the village?
This one actually came from my neighborhood, but it was about village-wide traffic calming measures.
Because I was just sitting here, there was 2 trucks racing right there.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking to myself, where is Everest Metro when you need them?
Yeah.
So I did include in the packet, in 2016, I think it was, this committee at the time did adopt a neighborhood traffic management program. where, at first you would look at educating the neighborhood or the community as a whole, depending on where the issue seems to be. Second step is working on enforcement, trying to get more police presence. Third step is kind of an engineering control, so some kind of roadway alteration or physical change to the roadway to make people have to stop or reduce their speed going through areas. So some of the things that I know that we talked about back then was, educating people. It seems like a lot of times the speeding complaints are in neighborhoods, and it's the people who live in the back of the neighborhood speeding through the front of the neighborhood that's causing issues. So trying to just sometimes remind people that, they don't want people zooming past their house. They shouldn't be doing that past their own neighbors. And we can request the traffic or the speed board from Everest Metro be put up at times. That seems to help, although sometimes I know it almost seems like people like to see how fast they can go and get that thing to flash at them. East Jelnik a few years ago, we had it up, and I think the highest clocked in at somewhere around, I think like 70 some miles an hour. So, I don't know. It's something we struggled with. Nobody's actually gone through the entire process from start to finish. I think one resident had gotten some signatures from neighbors several years ago, but I don't know. I guess it's something that is always a struggle. People always want more stop signs installed. I'm not sure stopping at every intersection is really the right way to go too, because you want to have good traffic flow through your community. A street like Schofield Ave, our arterial streets, you don't want to have too many traffic calming measures necessarily for emergency response. You want to make sure you have routes for ambulances, fire trucks to get to places quickly as well. Don't know. Leave it up to you guys to.
So having not having heard of traffic calming measures before, I did read through our policy and did a little bit of research, and like I said, I mainly put it in for a educational thing for the committee.
Sure. I mean, if people have specific areas that they know of, we can definitely take a look. Sometimes additional signage, I know we've got some spots, Ross Avenue in particular, where we seem to have the opposite issue. I drive it on a daily basis, which I'm sure you do too. And it's almost weekly, you get behind that person who's going, 25 or 30, and it's a 35 mile an hour road, and you're kind of like, but then you realize as you drive, hey, I haven't seen a speed limit sign in several blocks. So it does kind of go the other way at times too. People are leery of wanting to speed, so they go slower, but I guess that's part of it too. I know one of the goals for our sign department this year was to kind of get an inventory of where all of our signs are for speed limit, stop signs, those types of things, so we can kind of see where we're at, maybe where we're lacking signage. I know on East Jelnik this past spring, we did add some additional speed limit signs. Everest Metro does alert us to areas when they think we need to add a stop or a speed limit sign. Just last week, 2 weeks ago, we added one on Birch Street, just north of Community Center Drive. So, again, signs don't really force anybody to stop, but hopefully it helps alert them that, hey, I should check my speedometer and, I need to slow down a little bit, so.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions or comments on traffic calming measures? All right. Item 21, resolution 2021-008 for special assessments for street and utility improvements for the Ryan Street / Apache Lane Utility Connection Project. I really wish it was 007.
Yeah. So again, this would be the preliminary resolution that would authorize us to put the special assessment report together and hold the special assessment hearing. I think I put the map in here. So the assessment district is the properties north of the Eau Claire River along Trotzer Lane here, Apache, and then to the connection with the State Drive in North Apache. So the assessment would be for water and sewer connection. And in the past, we discussed, possibly deferring some of those assessments until time of connection or giving people a little leeway here since the goal of the project was looping and making that connection and not, it was more village driven than maybe resident driven based on need. Although I know we've heard from several residents who are pretty excited either because they have poor well water quality or capacity or their septic system is on the verge of needing replacement. So I think we'll see quite a few people connect right away, but it'll be a good system reinforcement. I don't know if that came up in this most recent sanitary survey from the DNR, but this was one item in the past that they'd listed as well as a vulnerability for the utility system for the water side.
Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve resolution number 2021-008 for
Right.
special assessment for the street and utility improvement for the Ryan Street Apache Lane Utility Connection Project.
Motion by Zagami, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Hubbard, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I,
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, future items, you can see that those are listed. Does anyone have any topics for future meetings? All right, none? Remarks from Administrator Donner?
I think everybody's aware we had the building committee meeting on Thursday. And recommendations will be forwarded to the village board for the Monday, April 19th meeting coming up here. I guess before they'll be putting information together, but some decisions coming up here that, from the board on the building project, so. Just, again, probably redundant information that you already knew about, so. Nothing else right now.
So Thursday is a public hearing, right?
I'm sorry?
Thursday?
Thursday the 28th.
There's a public works public hearing for Crystal Acres, correct?
On Wednesday, the 28th, yeah.
Or Wednesday?
Oh, it is one day, great. Let's, remarks from staff, Clerk Coleman? Nothing. Superintendent Swenson? Nope. Deputy Director Akskowski? Nope. Director Wodolski?
No, I guess, yeah, just please let me know if something changes about that Wednesday, April 28th date. I guess right now, the three of you in attendance are the three members who confirmed they were able to make it that night. So either of you, Tom, Hushang, Nate, aren't able to, please let us know.
Okay. Remarks from committee members, starting with Mr. Hubbard.
nope.
All right, and Mr. Zagami.
Saturday morning, I opened the faucet to brush my teeth. I could smell the chlorine in there.
Okay.
So maybe you want to check how much they're adding and what it is.
And then the chair recognizes President Maloney.
I just wanted to dovetail on, I got chlorine in our water too.
Okay. And then the only other thing I have is what I said at the onset, even though he's not here, I would like to sincerely thank Vice Chair Ziegler for all of his hard work this year. He had a lot of valuable insight and always appreciated his comments. At that point, I am seeking a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Oh, go ahead,
Motion by Hubbard,
second.
second by Zagami. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
All right, motion carries and we are adjourned at 5:50.